1878, the 21-year-old Joseph Sinnamon left the family property at 17 Mile Rocks to establish a mixed dairy farm and raise pedigree horses at Priors Pocket. In 1885, he married Mary Frances McCulloch in the Moggill Methodist Church. Mary bore 9 children, all in residence, that is, at home. Over the years, Joseph was successful and expanded his holdings in Priors Pocket Road to around 120 hectares. However, his principal goal was to breed a first-class pedigreed Jersey dairy herd. To this end, in 1888, he imported a blood bull named Conqueror from New Zealand and opened Trinity Jersey Stud in 1889. In 1908, he imported the bull Afriston Duke from the home of the breed, Jersey Island, England, the first of his many purchases of blood bulls and cows from that island. Through such investments and due diligence to best breeding practice, Joseph became a leading stud master. His stock consistently won championships and awards, making his stud commercially viable through the regular sale of bulls and cows to both local and interstate breeders for stud work and to dairymen to improve milk production. Success was not without setbacks. 30 of his blood horses were drowned in the 1893 flood. In 1914, an uninsured outbuilding burnt down. 2 years later, a hired hand suicided by drowning. In 1930, fire razed the 3-year-old house occupied by Joseph's eldest son Robert and his family. In 1932, Joseph and his 3 sons were found guilty of income tax avoidance. Also, stock losses were not uncommon, but none more bizarre than the death of the bull Some Hope, imported from Jersey Island in 1930 and champion of his breed at the Royal National Show for the next 3 consecutive years. Its death in 1934 was caused from it eating 22 different items, including nails, tacks and stones, a large one of which blocked a vital stomach passage. Joseph and Mary's principal community involvement revolved around the Moggill Methodist Church, which they attended for 70 years. In 1941, they donated $600 towards the cost of erecting the church's hall, named the Sinnamon Memorial Hall. Joseph Sinnamon made a significant contribution to the Queensland dairy industry. On his death, the Courier Mail reported Queensland had lost one of its most highly respected and successful stock breeders. Joseph's 3 surviving sons, Robert George, Samuel Eric and Walter Benjamin, inherited the property. Samuel Eric, also known as Eric, ultimately became sole owner. He continued the stud along his father's lines, and his son Samuel, always called Neville, inherited the property on Eric's death. Like his grandfather and father, Neville was both a dedicated farmer and astute businessman. He made 3 major changes to the property: the closure of the Trinity Jersey herd, the introduction of beef cattle, and the installation of irrigation to increase the productivity of the cattle feed crops, particularly hay. In later years, Neville periodically assisted the Salvation Army chaplaincy service in Western Queensland. On Neville's death in 2013, his youngest son Paul continued the Sinnamon farming tradition, supplementing the income through his earth-moving business. The final property settlement awarded Paul's brother David a portion on the eastern side of Priors Pocket Road. Paul continues to own and farm the major portion of the Sinnamon inheritance.